Hey guys, how you doing? So it's that time of the year when we all seem to post our videos of our favourite best of albums, lists of the particular year we're in. This year it's 2023. I'm going to talk about my top 10 albums and quickly show you what I did buy that missed out on my cut. I do own 21 studio albums that were released in 2023. There's also two vinyl compilations which I did purchase, which I will also show. So I'll quickly go through the ones that missed the cut so far, or for my final top 10 anyway. We have Teddy Swims. I've tried everything but Therapy. He's a modern R&B, traditional R&B soul artist, but he's a modern singer. I think he's only had a couple of albums. We also have Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds with Council Skies. Diamonds and Dance Floors by Ava Max, missed my cut. Bewitched by Lorfi, who comes from Iceland from memory. A very good album. It's a I guess you call it a jazz album. It's traditional jazz, traditional blues type album. It's really, really good, and her voice really blends to that genre really well. Also, I'm a big fan of Pink, but her Trustful album missed my top 10. Big fan of Willie Nelson and his 99th studio album. Yes, 99 studio albums. I Don't Know a Thing About Love missed my cut. So yeah, he's it's a covers album, and he's singing the songs of country songwriter Harlan Howard on this album. So it's a really, really traditional country album. Also that missed my cut is 72 Seasons by Metallica. Great album. I'm a big Metallica fan. This is a welcome return to form in my opinion. Also that missed my cut is Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard by Lana Del Rey. This is one of the various album covers. This one is on, I'll show you the coloured vinyl when I have coloured vinyl, even in my top 10. So that's like a lime green colour. It's double vinyl. We'll get back to this one in a minute, by the way, before I start my top 10. Yeah, I think she's one of those artists you either love or don't love. Simple as that. Also have the National's latest album, The First Two Pages of Frankenstein. Really, really good album. They're a really, really good band, but failed to make the cut. Oh, and look at this. Incredible. Black vinyl. How rare is it to see black vinyl nowadays, guys? Actually, for some reason I thought it was white vinyl. It wasn't, so it was a mistake that I got that out to show you guys anyway. We also have Heavy by Young Fathers, which is a highly critically acclaimed album. This one's on coloured vinyl as well, so I'll show this one as well. The art's like a burgundy colour in real life. I don't know if you can see that on there, as in that. But this is a really, really good album. Really, really lots. There's techno, there's hip hop. There's also sort of some industrial sounds on here, a bit like Prodigy on Valium. Basically, it's slowed down, mellowed Prodigy at times. This one actually came in the mail today. Actually, I actually got this just in time to make my video. It's the Madness album, C'est La Vie. This is a double album, and this one is on clear vinyl. For some reason I have a thing, I like clear vinyl. Clear vinyl's really good. But yeah, this album made the failed to make my top 10 also. Probably because I think it's a couple of tracks too long. It just sort of outstays its welcome at the end there, but it is a really, really good album overall. Compilations I got this for Christmas from my parents. It's the new remastered Beatles Blue album. This was purchased for me simply because Now and Then is on it. I don't like the song, but as a Beatles completist, I thought I should have it. And also this one was recommended by Life of Vinyl from Jamie. He had it on his channel by Richard Hawley. Didn't know nothing about the guy. Jamie said there's a bit of a Chris Isaak type feel to it at times. Bit of rockabilly, you know, 50s rock and roll type stuff. So yeah, I got it simply because of his recommendation. So you got blue and black vinyl on that one. This is actually a really, really good album. I've only listened to it a couple of times. It is really good. Surprised I hadn't heard of the guy before. So the other one was black and blue vinyl. This one is white and blue, or blue and white. But yeah, a really, really good album. So thanks, Jamie. Thanks for recommending me that one. And one album actually did disappoint me throughout the year, which I do like, but it hasn't really grabbed me yet, and it is Lana Del Rey's album. I'm a big fan of Lana Del Rey. This album just, I think it's a bit too long. It's too much of a muchness, but yeah, it's just a bit too long for my liking. Maybe I'll get to really love it at some point like I do her other studio albums, but at this stage it is a bit of a letdown for me. Oh, and this is my new Jam, the gift t-shirt that one of the things Lynn bought me for Christmas, so wearing that one today. Anyway, let's get into my top 10 albums for 2023. This is purely from the albums I've purchased. It's not a be-all and end-all of the greatest albums of the year. It's just my favourite of the 21 studio albums I've purchased. So at number 10 on my list, I have this one, Fever Ray, with the album Radical Romantics. This is a Swedish artist. It's a bit arty and weird, especially the videos. They are really out there on their own little wavelength. If you want a sounds like for this artist, think Tori Amos and Peter Gabriel Had a Love Child, and that's pretty much the sound you get here. I can also hear bits of Visage from the early 1980s, sort of New Romantics type stuff. But yeah, a really, really good album. I was actually drawn to this the first time I heard it. I do have the limited edition. I think there was only 2,000 of these made. Didn't chart anywhere in the world, but that's on red vinyl, that one. But a really, really good album. If you're sort of vaguely interested in some of Tori Amos's stuff or Peter Gabriel stuff, you'll hear bits and pieces of both those artists splashed throughout this album. But yeah, just give it a listen if you can, and you may or may not like it. Hoping you do, because I'm sort of recommending this one. Very, very good album. So at number 9 on my list, everyone seems to have this in their top 10 at the moment. All the experts have got it in their top 10. We have Hacky Diamonds by the Rolling Stones. Really, really good album. Love just about every track on here. It's really, really good. Sweet Sounds of Heaven is probably my favourite track on here, the one they did with Lady Gaga. I know a lot of people don't like Rolling Stone Blues, the old blues cover, but I think that's really good. If this happens to be their last album, then that is a great song to finish off the album, because that's where they got their name from, Rolling Stone Blues. Forgive me, but I can't remember who originally sung Rolling Stone Blues. An old blues guy, can't remember. But I'm not really a Rolling Stones fan, I will admit that. I do own probably 10 or 11 of their albums. A lot of hit or miss, a lot of fluff on their albums, a lot of filler. But this is a lot of killer with no filler, in my opinion. Great, great album by Mick and Keith and the boys. At number 8 on my list, Gregory Alan Isaac. His album Appaloosa Bones. This is folky, it's art folk, it's Americana, it's a great storyteller album. Biggest influences on his career were Leonard Cohen and Bob Dylan. You can hear that in the way he writes songs. He crafts his songs very, very well. The stories in them are absolutely incredible. And this one is, so if you like folk or Americana, Go out and buy this album. It's a khaki brown colour, as Lynn says. It's shit vinyl, but yeah, it is actually a horrible colour. This brown, it just doesn't really go with it, in my opinion. But yeah, great album nonetheless. At number 7 on my list, we have an album called All Roads Lead Home. This is by Ralph Molina, Billy Talbot, Nils Lofgren, and Nils Lofgren, not Neil, and Neil Young. Molina, Talbot, and Lofgren are Crazy Horse, which is Neil's long-standing studio band. This is an Americana album. It was recorded during lockdown with the whole COVID thing. Ralph Molina, Billy Talbot, Nils Lofgren each recorded 3 songs at home in their home studios or on tape, and they would send copies to the other ones just to finish off. So in the end they had 9 songs. They're all good, all worthy of being included on the album. So they basically got in touch with Neil Young and said, hey, have you got a song that you can fill out this album with? And sure enough, Neil obliged with a song of his own for this album. So yeah, 10 songs. It's basically, let's call it Neil Young Crazy Horse doing an Americana album. Neil only does 1 song. This is the best album with Neil Young involved that I've heard in possibly 20 years. Absolutely brilliant. And as you can see, it forms part of Neil Young Archives Records on the sticker there. But yeah, a great album. I think this is just plain black, I think. Yeah, it's just a black album, that one. But yeah, great album. If you love Americana, give this a go. Number 6 on my list. I think her name is Freya Rydins, Freya. I'm sorry if I mispronounce that. The album's called Blood Orange. If you want a sounds like for this album, think of early Florence and the Machine and early Adele mixed into one. It's really good. It's really thumping. It's lots of strong vocals in it, and she has a strange quality about her vocals with her tones. Her tones are different than anyone I've ever heard, and I can't put my finger on it exactly what it is. But yeah, it's an album about failed relationships and insecurities. Excellent album, well worth a listen. If you want to get a feel for this album, check out her single Weekends if you haven't heard it already, and that will give you a vibe of sort of what the album is like for the most part. Freya Rydins, Blood Orange. Number 5 on my list. I wasn't going to get this album originally. I was narin, and Mike PC31 actually reviewed it, really loved it, and that was like, well, okay, I have to get this album. I was wasn't sure whether I was going to get it or not, and it's End of World, Public Image Limited. Lots of reflective, heartfelt lyrics on here, which is strange for a John Lydon album, but considering his wife Nora died earlier in the year, you can see where he's come from with a lot of his reflective lyrics. There's a lot of angst on some of these songs as well, like Penge and Car Chase. But it is an excellent album. This is everything a good Pill album should be. Great stuff in my opinion. And I do have, obviously it's recorded on 45 RPM like most of Pill's stuff is. And I do have the double white album there. Double white vinyl. I won't get the other one out because it's exactly the same as this. But yeah, a great album from Public Image Limited this late in their career. Great stuff. At number 4 on my list, an artist I've never heard of. I think she may have had 1 or 2 albums previously. I don't think this is her debut. Melanie Martinez. The album's called Portals. As you can see by the cover, it's a bit out there, and yeah, the music videos for the songs are just as weird as this album cover. Art pop is probably the best thing you could call it. It's very arty, very out there on its own wavelength. This album gets better with each listen. Each time you hear it, you hear something else, either in the music or the phrasing of the words, or you hear different lyrics. if you're not reading the lyrics at the time. But yeah, a great album. If you want a sounds like, when I say this about all these artists, I'm not saying they do sound like X, Y, and Z, for example. I'm saying it's sort of in that ballpark. If you're a fan of Sia, for example, you will really like this album. It's out there in its own wavelength like Sia. It's not really Sia, but it's in that ballpark. And this is Translucent. I call it like a violet purple colour. They call it Bloodshot, but there's not that much bloodshot in it to me. But yeah, great album. I mean, even the artwork in there, really good in my opinion. Great album. Another one well worth a listen if you haven't heard it yet, but you like music along the lines of, as I mentioned, Sia, for example. Let's get this away. Oh, and even the back cover has got beautiful artwork on it as well. Great stuff. So heading into my top 3 albums of the year. This one may surprise a lot of people, simply because Driver's License was a huge hit on her previous album, and also quite annoying. Some people found that quite annoying because it was overplayed, etc. But it's Olivia Rodrigo with her sophomore album, Guts. This one is more rock orientated than her debut album. You call it pop rock, rock pop, whatever you want to call it. Alt rock in places. There's also a few piano based slower songs as well. I wouldn't call them ballads because they're not story songs with a beginning, a middle and an end, which is technically what a ballad is, but they're slower songs. She really shows what her voice is capable of on some of the songs on this album. She has good vocal control, fantastic range, and intelligent lyrics, very intelligent lyrics, as she reflects on her troubled teenage years, being that she's only 21 now. So yeah, very good album. And this one is in limited edition or indie store purple. I don't know if you can see that, or lavender I think they call it, to be honest. Yeah, maybe you can't see that, but yeah, another great album. If you just want a good old-fashioned pop album, pop rock album, this one's really worth a listen. Olivia Rodrigo, Guts. Her debut album was really good as well. That was called Sour, but that was more pop orientated. So at number 2 on my list, this one's really going to surprise a lot of people, believe it or not. We have an album called Endless Summer Vacation. This was by Miley Cyrus. Yes, I own Miley Cyrus. I have 2 of Miley Cyrus's albums in my collection. I think she has matured into a fantastic artist. She has great vocal tones. She has a good vocal quality with her raspy vocals. She's really matured. Her lyrics are very cleverly written now and very cleverly sung, and she tackles a lot more genres than just the pop she did on her first few albums. Yeah, just a really mature album. She's sort of up there with Pink now for me. I think if she can deliver another great album like the last one I have and this one, she'll certainly be heading up there on a level with Pink for me. So great album in my opinion. This one's on white vinyl. Just open the gatefold there. Yes, I'm sure she's a little bit skanky still, but you know, she needs to get out of that and start maturing a bit like Lady Gaga has, in my opinion. And there you are, that's on the white vinyl there. So the AM side is morning, and obviously the PM is the evening session, or side 2. If you've heard her single Flowers off this album, that is the vibe and feel of this album. If you haven't heard it, go and listen to Flowers, and if you like it, you'd really like this album. Which leaves one album on my list. It's a debut album by a young American artist. I only have this on CD. Stephen Sanchez, that's his name. The album is called Angel Face. As I said, debut album. It's a concept album. It's set in the 1950s. A young I don't know if he uses his name in the songs or not. He may do. He's a troubadour, a jazz singer, a club singer, and he falls in love with a woman who happens to be the wife, girlfriend, you know, trophy on the arm of a mob boss. Basically, the mob boss finds out about it, goes after him, puts a hit on him, and that the song details, you know, where he met this woman, has a relationship, and then the hit on him. I'm not going to tell you how the album ends. You need to listen to it for yourself. It's got some rockabilly on here. It's got pop. It's got a hint of rock, but it's mainly jazz and blues songs, as in traditional jazz and blues, but it's really good. Stephen Sanchez has a voice and a vocal tone and vocal quality to that of Chris Isaak. So if you like Chris Isaak, you're certainly going to like this album. I loved it the first time I heard it. But yeah, Chris Isaak is a good one here. I'd like to say a bit of Roy Orbison in his sound as well, but he doesn't really hit those super high notes that Roy Orbison hit. But that sound quality is there in his voice, obviously, like Chris Isaak, and little bits of Roy Orbison. But yeah, a great album. Angel Face by Stephen Sanchez. Had I have known this album was going to be this good, I would have bought the vinyl of this. Anyway, guys, that's my rundown of all the albums I purchased in 2023, the new release ones, and my top 10 in sort of bit of detail, explaining why I like them and why I think you should probably get them. Anyway, guys, leave your comments in the section below. Are you familiar with any of these albums? Is there some of these artists you're not familiar with? I certainly wasn't familiar with a few of these until I listened to the albums, but then again, I listen to 5 or 6 albums a week on Spotify or Deezer, and they're usually by artists I'm not familiar with. That way I can introduce new artists into my music collection. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. As I said, leave your comments in the section below whether you're familiar with these or own any of these or not. Anyway, stay safe, take care, all for now, and catch you around, folks. Bye.